think we're back now. All right. Looks like everybody's ready. We can try this again. So refresh that. How about you, Zero? You got everything looking good?
No,
No.
Screen.
Let me try this again. Last thing, and we'll be good to go here. Okay.
There we go. Now I can see.
All right then. Let's try this again. Let's start these guys off.
Alright, so they have their preset characters, and we will be getting started here in just a moment. And here we go. Maybe.
They're going?
I don't think they're going.
What? Are they not?
Oh, okay. Alright, I think we got Indy going, maybe? Yeah, okay, so... Alright, he did all the stuff I commented earlier. Now he's walking into a wall. This is a DLZ, Displaced Loading Zone.
This is Carl on your personal communicator.
Each of the triggers in the game has, like, basically, I don't know exactly how it works, but if you run into the exact Y coordinate of the, like, northwest-bound trigger, you're able to hit it from anywhere in the map. I have no idea how it works. Some of the more technically inclined guys would be able to explain it. You might have also noticed that it menu glitch after the DLZ. That's what's called a hot shot. At least I assume it was a hot shot from what I can tell. And a hot shot is a trick that's going to be used throughout the game, which basically takes your save state from an old save and merges it with the save state of a new save, and allows you to take some things. In this case, they're actually invincible for the game. And now we're on Terrace with all runners except Binks. It looks like a little bit behind. Indy slightly in the lead. The dialogue there is 43253. And he toggles V-Syncs that actually changes how fast loading is. And right away here, he is going to do what's called a forced level up, or sorry, fake level up. And this is a really weird trick. Basically, you're able to take a bunch of skill points. And I don't know how the new method works exactly, but you take a ton of skill points, and you don't actually get any of the feats or attributes except for the first level. And it lets them, get like maximum security and all sorts of other stuff. And it looks like Indian Range, Chaos is actually in the lead now, but Indian Range right now are going through this shop, and you're able to do what's called a credit, I think it's underflow, where basically if you get negative credits, the game thinks you have infinite credits for the sake of shops and whatnot. And Chaos is currently in the lead. Right now he's going to, what's his name? It's some doctors, it doesn't matter. Plot doesn't matter in the speedrun. You skip everything. Basically, he's just going to buy a bunch of the stims, which are going to help his characters with combat and running faster. He also placed Karth in the next loading trigger, and what he did there was called a Gather Party Warp, or GP Warp. Essentially, you are able to teleport all of your party members to one party member who's waiting in a trigger by doing what's called an AMG, and then you basically switch to another character while you're still in the sort of like cutscene. And yeah, and now Chaos is doing yet another DLZ. I believe this is the one to get into the Sith base, which is it? Yeah. So you're not supposed to get here until like hours of gameplay, honestly. On a casual playthrough without doing any tricks, it'll probably take you like an hour at minimum. That's not true because it's the glitchless speedrun. I have no idea. But yeah, basically, you're also, I believe, not supposed to just be able to get through this door that was up ahead, but now he's just gonna walk into this corner and... Oh, okay, this is a... My apologies for the bad commentary. I have... once again, my intel on this run is a little bit out of date. So he's just gonna run all those guys.
Indy's having a hard time with this DLZ. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, some of these DLZs are really bad. And
because you're trying to get your character to hit a specific coordinate, right? And then it warps you. Is that how it works?
Yeah. Right. And it's very precise. It also depends on your frame rate. I believe higher frame rate makes it so it's easier to hit because the game checks more often. So Chaos, you finished the Sith base. Again, you're not supposed to get there for a long time. He just did yet another DLZ. This one goes into the lower city, and he's just gonna run straight to the is it the Volcar? Yeah, the Volcar base, and he's going to do somewhat of a gather party warp and basically trigger this like. Oh,
sorry. We're gonna look at some other runners here, see where they're at.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like everyone is pretty much in the Sith base. Phantom is currently contemplating on some sort of menuing. Yeah, Indy and Binks looks like just finishing up the fight with the governor. And Build is getting into the fight right now. And the reason you need to kill the governor, even in the any percent run, is in order to get the... It's like... I mean, I don't think the actual item matters. You get, like, some, like, launch codes from him. It does trigger some story events, though, which are necessary to progress. And it looks like Indy is now trying the DLZ Okay. Okay. All right. Chaos is, I believe, in the lead. We are now on the planet of Kashyyyk. It's called, I believe, in the older version. In the older years of Star Wars, might know it as Kashyyyk now, as it's called in more recent media. So yeah, what Chaos is gonna do, you missed it on Dancer, but sort of the whole premise of this game is that there's a bunch of star maps. You need to get 4 of them. So you actually get one of them on Dancer, which is kind of where Build is playing. And then we have a method of actually basically duplicating them on Kashyyyk by doing something called a routine, which you'll see him get into here very shortly.
What can I do?
Yes?
Same with range in the top left. Looks like he's going to be... If he could get around these guys can be really difficult to get around. They are notorious for blocking. But yeah, Chaos is basically moving into position to start duplicating the star map once he gets into this area. I believe it's called the Lower Shadow Limit.
You want any?
So instantly what he's going to do is something called a fast lane, which I didn't get to explain earlier. Basically what it is there's this return to Evan Hawk button, which you press in certain places, and if you do, I don't know if it's technically a hot shot, but you're able to sort of take that menu with you into another part of the map, or rather into somewhere you're not supposed to by loading like a save. And what this is going to allow him to do is, in this dialogue with this like terminal, he's going to get the little cutscene for the terminal, and then he returns to Evan Hawk, and now he's doing what this is like the whole part of the whole routine. So it's similar to a hot shot, but there's going to be a lot more going on. It's actually going to involve completely closing out the game unless strats have majorly changed, but as for we don't actually exactly know how or why this works. It just kind of does, but it has to do with like save manipulation. And there's just a lot of menuing going on. It's too fast for me to keep up. Probably, I mean, basically it's you do the fast lane, you go into the cutscene, you do a hot shot, and then you do the routine itself. And it looks like Chaos might actually be onto his 3rd star map now. As I said, you need to get 4 total. Range, it looks like also in the middle of the whole routine part of the run. And yeah, like I said, just a lot of menuing, that's a lot of this run. A lot of the optimization, honestly, comes from the menuing here. But once we get that 4th star map, which Chaos should have shortly, assuming nothing goes wrong, I believe this should be the 4th one here. 4th total. It's the 3rd here on Kashyyyk, but it's the 4th total. And once he has this, we're going to go to a brand new planet, which we haven't seen. It looks like Build should be done with Dantooine now. Phantom is... who knows what Phantom's doing. Couldn't tell you. Okay. Alright. Okay, so Indy looks like he's gonna be walking towards this dialogue. Build is currently going to be going to Kashyyyk.
Yes.
And this dialogue that Indy's in, it's I believe it's required to talk to Joe. I actually don't know exactly. I just know we have to. You basically take all these like little sensor things offline.
Yes.
Just like makes Jolene available, as you see here. And this is one of those dialogues where you get stuck in like a loop, so you really have to know what you're doing with the dialogue buttons pressed. And I believe range, this is either his last or right before his last routine. You get a let's get the final star map. It looks like Build is going to be heading into the Shadowlands. I didn't get to explain this earlier, but what he's going to do here is it's a form of a GP warp. Or not, actually. Maybe these strats have changed a bit. No, yeah, it is. So basically, you're able to, if you place a party member in a very specific part of the map, you're able to do this really strange thing when you switch into a different zone where it thinks the character is actually somewhere else. Though Bastila, he put Bastila in the corner there, which made the game think that Bastila was actually next to this elevator as soon as he came into the new zone. So he was able to basically just go right into the elevator, into the Shadowlands. And as far as I know, the actual route to get there is pretty long. Yeah, now he's in the Shadowlands. Looks like Indy is getting through his star maps now. Range is all done with his star maps, now headed to the, well, it's called Lahan. I think there's like some name in game that they use, like the Unknown World or something. Range is, or sorry, Chaos is in the lead, although I assume he's probably into, he might even be to Summit at this point, but yeah, so once you're on Lahan, you're gonna be, oh wow, okay, Chaos is really zooming. Chaos is just about done with Lahan, actually, and gonna be headed to the Starforge, which is the sort of final area. I don't want to say a planet, but it is the final area in this game. Range is doing Summit DLZ right now, which is a very, very hard DLZ to hit. Looks like he got it pretty well. Chaos does lead by probably a minute or so, 30 seconds minimum. But he's going to be getting off and going into the Starforge now. And basically, if you hard buffer that dialogue, like, those guys are just completely stuck. There's supposed to be some really long, drawn-out dialogue with them, but you can just skip it. And Chaos is going to do another one of those, like, GP warp teleports here, where Bastila is by the ship, and with the main character, he's moving, he's basically going to move, like, you can see the little, what's the correct word? Not the letterbox, but the black bars. So he's able to move when normally you're not supposed to be able to move. And then he does the GP warp, instantly teleports very conveniently to the elevator. And now he's just going to get his companion over to him, so he's able to actually go into the next zone by doing some various weird things with saves. And goes into the, is it deck 2, I believe, of the Starforge. And it's going to be another one of these weird GP warp things where he's going to actually teleport Bastila, if I recall, into a pretty weird spot. Or the main character, my apologies. And again, it's just a lot of weird, like, save things that basically get all of your characters together and where you want them to be. And it saves a good amount of time versus, like, running all the way through, because the Starforge is a pretty big map. It looks like Indy is now getting to Lahan. Oh, he got Starfighters. Unfortunately, actually, I believe it might be faster. It used to be slower. But there is a chance with every planet transfer that you, like, get Starfighters, which is just, like, little DLC content thing. Not actually DLC. Chaos here, though, looks like he's going to be headed into the final fight, so time for Chaos will be coming up soon. Range is, I think, on deck 2. No, this is still deck 1 of the Starforge, but Chaos coming into the final fight. He got a bunch of thermal detonators, which is the way he's going to kill Malik. Not by using his weapons or anything, because he's still like a level 2 or whatever. These thermal detonators, though, make pretty quick work. So just spam thermal detonators, and then once the dialogue triggers, Chaos will be done, unless you screw this up. So there is a little AMG trick you have to do here. And we see the load, and there's time for Chaos. That was a pretty good run for Chaos, actually. Especially from what I could tell compared to the other people. Range does seem to be in second place. Looks like he's on deck 2
we have to escape before Malik
of the Starforge,
shows up.
doing all that weird save stuff, and Indy, I believe, will be getting to the Starforge very soon after he gets Basla. Build is still on Kashyyyk, and looks like Build just got Force Speed, which actually, so that if I recall, Force Speed is a little bit broken. It gives you some like this weird property, which I may be wrong, but it has something to do with canceling like a status effect. Anyway, though, Range is about to be entering the final fight here on the Starforge.
The Republic.
Once he gets past this weird Darth Malik statue. And same deal, Range will just be spamming thermal detonators. Looks like Indy is about to get onto the Starforge, and Build, I believe, is getting his star maps right now, doing the routine.
What can I do?
And yeah, you can see Build is taking his time. Like, honestly, nothing wrong with that, because the whole routine is, it's weird. Like, you have to remember so many things.
What can I do? I'm here.
And, I mean, at this point, I couldn't even remember how to do it. It would probably take me 10 minutes to get just one star map. Yeah, it looks like Range will be finishing up very shortly here. Bastila is just throwing lightsaber at Malik.
I'm here.
Alright, same deal once he does his quick load. And there is time for Range. So it looks like in third place, we've got Indy coming in on, looks like maybe deck 2 of the Starforge. Binks is doing a DLZ to get to the top of the, or it's not a DLZ, is it? It's a, it's a weird
What can I do?
fast lane where you're able to basically,
I'm here.
like, teleport your party member to a different place. It looks like it is a DLZ. He's definitely not hitting it, and DLZs can be very precise. So this is pretty unfortunate. It looks like Build is going through his star maps right now. Phantom looks like just arrived on Kashyyyk. And oh, that's a weird thing from Indy. Let's see. And Binks is still just not hitting the DLZ. Okay, wait, I actually don't know exactly what's going on with Indy right now.
What can I do? Yes, I'm here.
So I think Indy. Okay, no. Okay, so Indy's going into the end fight here.
Yes.
I didn't recognize that that route he took, but he will be going into the end fight. Binks is nearly to the Starforge, and Build is just getting to Lahan.
Well done,
now.
Revan. I would.
This is a very long, unskippable cutscene that Build is going through. But you have to, if you do, you know, like one of the quick save, quick load. Actually, I think this one is part of buffer. You're able to just skip the entire cutscene, which is very helpful. It looks like Indy is just finishing up his fight now. Phantom is gonna be fighting, or rather, he's not gonna be fighting, but you know, he's got Calo Nord, who's the infamous
Look around you, Revan.
the infamous bounty hunter from the time of the Old Republic. And Binks is getting to the Starforge. And yeah, Indy completed his run.
I cannot be beaten. I am the Dark Lord of the Sith. Yes, I cannot deny it any longer. You are the one who deserves to be the Dark Lord. You were the one who found the first star map on Dantooine, Revan. It was you who led us on our quest for the Starforge.
So Binks is just doing the early Starforge routing here.
Your rule to steal the title of Sith Master from you. But now I understand. The destiny is yours, Revan. Not mine.
And build is going to be going for Summit DLZ, so best selected build. Oh yeah, that is another thing. You notice he just turned VSync off, so as I might have, I forget if it was during the technical difficulties, but it's easier to get DLZs with higher frame rate because the game is like checking the trigger cycle more often. So if you have VSync on, you know, it's capping your frame rate at whatever your refresh rate of your monitor is, but in this game, since it's much older, if you have a modern PC, you can get like insanely high FPS. Like, I average like 1,000 FPS in this game during gameplay, which really helps. Luckily, it's not too much of like a disparity between runners. It's not really like a hardware, like hardware difference to deal with, but yeah, it is a thing, and it's like he's struggling a bit with this DLZ here. And Binks got his GP warp, moving his main character into position for the whatever you call this weird teleport thing that's going to put his main character somewhere else that he'll be doing later, not right now.
Sure.
And build is going into the Bastila fight here. Oh, and you'll notice the thing with Indy's screen, with how screwed up the game is, especially with how much we break it during the speed run. Yeah, it puts the end credits like in a. I think it also. I mean, this game is just completely broken. Just for context, runs are illegal if you start a run on, like, if you go back to the main menu and restart a run without closing your game first, that invalidates the run because the game just gets so broken by all the save state stuff. For that reason, too, in glitchless categories, the quick save and quick load features are actually completely not allowed. I'm not sure if you're even allowed to just save and load in general, but I know quick save and quick load is completely forbidden because there is something you might have seen somewhere. I didn't catch it personally, but if you quick save, you might actually be able to, in some instances, you can basically like it speeds you up when you're walking. It's kind of weird and tough to explain, but as soon as you load in from the quick save, it just makes you go faster. It makes the whole game faster for a second, actually. It might have something to do with like adjusting the tick rate to the frame rate, but who knows. But it looks like Binks here is gonna be teleporting Bastila to the. Yep, there we go. And he's gonna do the GP warp that'll get everyone to Malak.
The Republic fleet must have got the message.
And build looks like we'll be going into the Starforge, I believe. Yeah, Binks is going to be finishing up his run here very shortly. And build is into the Starforge. And it looks like Phantom is going through the routine, getting the star maps that are very necessary to even finish the game. As far as we know with current strats anyway. There's no way to unlock the hidden world or whatever, Lahan, without the star maps. And Binks... Oh, he needs to... Probably one more thermal. Oh, unless it just does no damage. That does happen sometimes. There we go. Triggers the dialogue with Malik, and he'll be doing his little quick save, quick load. And there's time for Binks. And then there were two. So we're down to Build and Phantom. Build is somewhere on the Starforge. Let's see if I can tell where. Oh, it looks like... So it looks like Build is doing one of these weird, like, placement warps where you teleport your party member. And it looks like he's going to be doing some sort of hard buffer on a cutscene there. Which I didn't see the other runners do, but that is a strat that I remember doing back in my day, for sure. And that's unfortunate. I don't think... I think Build was expecting the main character to be far enough away that it wouldn't automatically go into the load zone. So... Oh, and Basila's following. That's great.
Yes?
Phantom is still going through the routine here.
What can I do?
Alright, but now we're good to go. Now he can do the weird GP teleport like that. Just gotta get Basila there with him so he's able to actually, go through the zone. And I think Phantom is probably onto his last star map, I believe. Potentially. Build here doing all this weird save stuff to hopefully place Bastila in the right spot all the way across the map from the main character. Which again, I mean, the Starforge is like huge, so it may seem slow, like all this menuing. I mean, I would do this very slowly, but believe me, it is way faster than just running all the way through. Especially since I believe there's some sections where you're required to do combat. Yeah, it looks like Build should be going into the final fight here. With Phantom going through the routine in all of its glory.
Well done, Revan. I was...
I'm here.
Still having a little bit of trouble with the fight here. He should be fine. I think he's detonators. And the combat in this game, it's like a D20 system or whatever. So, like, you can just get really unlucky with all the fights, like how much damage you do. But build will be finishing up right now. And that was a really nice synced load I just saw from both runners. But it looks like Phantom is getting into the Ebon Hawk. So I believe Phantom is done with all of these star maps. And we'll be going on to the, Lahan. And get this AMG set up in case you do get the Starfighters. Also, I think there's a cutscene as well that you skip. There you go. Starforge system, that's what it's called in game. Yeah, so skips this long unskippable cutscene with the AMG. I don't think I actually got a chance to explain the AMG because of the difficulties of the start. AMG is basically this trick where in any loading or saving screen, if you Alt F4, I kid you not, you Alt F4, and it brings up that, like, are you sure you want to quit menu. It's called Anywhere Menu Glitch or AMG, and that is the basis for a lot of tricks in this game. You need it for GP warps, for fast lanes, for pretty much anything, because it lets you basically take a menu anywhere, and I mean, yeah, obviously taking a menu anywhere is very helpful in a speedrun because menus make you faster. So, looks like Phantom got Starfighters, and a little bit of difficulty there, but yeah, Starfighters I believe now are faster, since you could just, if you have an AMG, if you're able to get one, you can just return to Ebon Hawk and basically skip the entire sequence. And Phantom will be... We'll see if he goes for Summit DLC. I would say it's a newer trick, but I don't know how new Summit DLC is. Alright, there we go, yep. We'll be going for Summit DLC. Hopefully he gets it. This is one of the harder DLCs from what I've gathered from the recent route. Nope, yep, gotta have VSync off. That was a good catch. There we go. Not a terrible DLC from Phantom. Of course, he's got to go for this other one here. Which it seems like actually everyone probably has struggled with this one, to be honest. I didn't see anyone get through this one quickly, like, at all. So... that was actually... that very well might have been the best DLC there from all the runners, from what I've seen. So that was pretty clean from Phantom.
What?
And he will be going into the Bastila fight.
Revan.
Come on, Bastila.
Oh, you guys just got the spoiler. Yeah, so... sorry about that. But the player in this game is Revan. If you never played the game, your experience will now be ruined. I apologize. Phantom is, looks like, trying to get a return to Ebon Hawk here. There we go. And that's, again, like with the AMG, you're able to just take that menu with you. The like return to Ebon Hawk menu through saves, which allows you to use it anywhere. Yeah, so now Phantom should be good to go on to the Starforge. You do have to be a little bit careful here, because I think there's a cutscene that you could just hit here. But it looks like we might just be doing a hot shot to get around it. Yep, there we go. And Phantom is going to the Starforge.
The Republic fleet must have got the message Karth sent. All our enemies will be destroyed in a single glory.
Alright, just generously buffering that cutscene there, or dialogue, whatever you want to call it.
I'm here.
Which
Yes.
is,
Yes.
again, so for one, I believe you actually have to fight these people. If you don't, which is, slower, but
I'm here.
the fact that it's dialogue is also just slower, so it's very important that you do that. And as we saw with the other runners, Phantom will be getting this GP warp set up.
What?
And you notice there with the AMG, just since I didn't get to explain this earlier, basically when you press cancel on the AMG in any dialogue or cutscene or anything like that, it allows you to move the camera around, move the player, which is why you're able to do this. And getting around those guys can be difficult, but if you do the default interact button on a door, it'll just work. That was a pretty clean warp, it's like, from Phantom. And I was just going to be getting his companion, Bastila, with him. And again, this is some pretty complicated menuing, so we can't fault Phantom for taking his time because, I mean, personally, when I was running this, I had to have like a whole notes document up, just to remember what I was doing, because this stuff is insane. And like the rate that like Chaos and Range execute this stuff, it's mind-boggling to me. It looks like Phantom is on to the second level of the Starforge here. Is this the second level? Yeah, deck 2. There you go.
I'm here.
It's gonna be doing another one of these weird GP warp teleport things. Just like that, and that should be the elevator to deck 3, I believe. Or it might be called the command deck, actually. Alright, looks like Phantom is back on the Starforge, and we'll be going to... Is it deck 3 or the command deck? We'll find out in just a sec. I think it did say command deck. So again, just going to be buffering a cutscene here. And once again, we do need to teleport Basila to the, that place, so we could teleport the main character to the other place, which will take us to the final fight.
What can I do?
There we go. So as I said, Basila went to the place, bringing the main character to the other place, allowing us to go into the final fight.
Well done, Revan. I will.
And let's see what kind of RNG Phantom gets here with his thermal detonators.
What?
Yes?
Sure.
Pretty decent. Looks like they're going for the sort of safe strat of just making sure both characters throw grenades and getting that AMG set up for the cutscene that'll be coming up once Malik has taken enough damage.
I'm here.
There we go.
You continue to amaze me, Revan.
And here comes
If
time
only you had
for
been the one to
Phantom.
uncover the true power of the Starforge, you might have become truly.
Once he does his AMG and
But you
then
were a
quick save,
fool.
quick load.
All you saw was an enormous. The Starforge is more than. Look around you, Revan.
And time.
Impossible. I
So there we go. I believe we will have
Dark Lord of the Sith.
for the semifinals. We will have Chaos versus Binks and Range versus Indy. I think Chaos versus Binks will be going first, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and yeah.
We've lost another capital ship. It's hopeless.
And you know, very good runs from all the runners, and best of luck from the rest of them in the semifinals and the grand final. I will be stepping out and letting the professionals take over on commentary. But yeah,
All right,
Hello,
welcome everyone. We're here for semifinal race number 1 between Chaos Drifter and Binks Magnus. My name's Indy Kenobi, and I'm here with Range, and we're gonna chat about this race. Chaos is coming up of a run that was within 1 second of world record, and Binks is his challenger, who just started learning this run about a week ago. So
and who, by the way, did a great job. Like, did a very resounding 4th place. Yeah, did a great job with the run.
I'm very excited to see what we get from both of these runners.
All right, and we're about to start the race. So let's see. All right, and they just started the race. In just a second. Yeah, true.
All right, so what are your thoughts when you're doing this first DLZ Range? What do you look for?
Okay, so there's this little circle, and it's supposed to be, there's supposed to be a little bit of white between the circle and your left leg, just a tiny amount. So this is a big first trick, DLZ. Case Drifter on the left, he's already setting up for it. He gets it pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, it's a pretty good DLZ.
Yeah, that's very solid. That's what you want. You know, you can get faster, but you can also get a lot slower. So, honestly, Binks gets it really quick too. Like, not bad at all. So
it's nice interesting that you look at the left leg for Spire DLZ, because I look at the right one. And I think a lot of people have sort of their own personalized visual cues when they're doing DLZs.
Yeah, DLZ setups are very tricky. I try to like get multiple setups so I can like always have 3 like different ways to calibrate the actual pixel that I'm looking for. Anyway, Chaos is off the Spire, and Binks not far behind, so like, yeah, really close for this initial section.
They'll both be doing Sneak Attack Flu next, which gives you Sneak Attack 9 at level 2. And it's our main source of damage against the Governor and Gad.
Yeah, the module that Chaos Drifter is in right now is probably the module where we do the most inputs in the game, in any module. It's 100%. Like, it's probably the hardest little mini menu sequence. I mean, the routine is up there too, but
yeah,
they're a little different.
It's that in the routine.
Yeah.
We used to do a more complicated version of Sneak Attack Flu where we also took intermediate levels to get Master 2 weapon fighting. But we have since streamlined it to avoid that, because then you can just get into a nice rhythm for the levels from 2 to 16.
Okay, and like Chaos is very primed right now. Like, he is not messing up flus, and it's really hard. Like, he's not messing up the flu at all. He did it super fast, and he did the equip. Binks finished it pretty well. Yeah, it's rough going against Chaos's flu.
He's really solid right now, Binks is.
Yeah.
So you might notice
been grinding.
We grab armor and we take 18 Constitution at the start, because we need to survive in the Sith base long enough to reach the Governor's office. So that's why we buy those things. We also have a battle stimulant, which gives us an extra 8 vitality, and that is often the difference between surviving and falling.
Yeah, there's one section of this run where you are just praying to not get killed. In the race before this, I made a save, just as like a backup strat. So
there's nothing wrong with a safety save.
Yeah, it doesn't lose very much time. And
Chaos had a pretty solid DLZ to get into the Sith base.
Yep, really good DLZ. He's on a great pace. This is the big scary part. He made a quick save, so I guess he'd make the decision to do this buffer or not, whether or not, depending on how high his health is. But it's plenty high, so he's just gonna go ahead and do it. Open the door, and it's time to attack the Governor. Binks is setting up to do the Sith base DLZ. The Sith base DLZ is one of the biggest run killers as far as like going for PVs. It's a big trick. DLZs stands for Displaced Loading Zone,
That was
and
good.
yeah, that was a great Sith-based DLZ, really sick. There are pixel precise glitches that you line up your Y coordinate with the edges of a loading zone's Y coordinates.
X.
X coordinate, sorry. It's really complicated, and basically the memory like reads it wrong, and it has a chance to fire the trigger that you're matching the coordinate with. You have to be south of the coordinate in the module, or like
In the negative Y direction, yeah.
You have to be in the negative Y direction in the module you're in of the trigger you're trying to activate, and you have to line up with its the edge of the trigger's X coordinates. Oh, and okay, this is rough. Rough for Binks. Looks like he made a save for this exact reason.
Safety save for a race. Race.
Yeah, it's good to do it there. Like, you don't die, you only die like 10% of the time, maybe 20, but actually probably like 10. Maybe less. It's really not that much, but it does happen.
Chaos is on good pace again. He's got his Volgar clip.
So unlucky.
DLZ'd into the back base, and
yeah,
now he's
Binks just had to load for the second time. He should probably make his hard save right outside the Sith Trooper barracks room, but
the other safety strat here is to do a fast lane if you're low on health, because that replenishes your health.
Honestly, that is a really good race strat, actually. That should probably be the one.
You can even, if you want to, just have a fast lane ready when you're doing the Sith-based DLZ, but then you kind of have to work around the pop-up a little bit.
Yeah. Alright, so Chaos once again. Everything's going really well for Chaos. Binks had some trouble dying. A little bit of trouble, but now he's wire targeting the governor.
The governor.
He kills the governor. The fight could have gone a little better.
Matrix dodging there.
Yeah, like the governor is usually a 3-round fight. There's an RNG chance for it to be 4 rounds, or even worse if you're really unlucky. But usually it's 4 rounds at worst. So you lose like 4 seconds to that extra combat round, because this game is very combat round oriented, where you have to wait. Wow, Chaos actually hit an obstacle during his swoop race.
That's a suboptimal swoop time right there.
25-13. Dang, you know he's mad.
Yeah. Alright, Binks is setting up for the Lower City DLZ.
Yep.
The Lower City DLZ is one of the ones I use a HUD queue for. So I look at where the interface is to try and line up my DLZ. I do that for 3 of the DLZs in this run.
Yeah, honestly, Lower City kind of gives me a hard time sometimes.
It's one of the, I wouldn't call it the hardest one, but it's also not the easiest one.
Yeah.
Binks is killing the guards outside the Volcar base just to make the clip a little easier.
Yep. So there is we call these guards the banana men because they're yellow, and we have a bananaless strat. So you skip the banana men, it's called bananaless, but Binks is doing the banana men strat. And Chaos is making his way off of Terrace. First planet done. No biggie.
Sure.
Easy peasy.
You can really see the execution difference between someone who's run any % for almost 3 years and someone who's run any % for about a week.
Yeah, Chaos is like any % is basically his only main category. He's run a bunch of other categories.
Yeah, he's a specialist.
Yeah. He's always been like really invested in this category specifically. And because of him, we've had so many improvements. Like, he really brought the time down a ton and set the standard.
Chaos and Range's competition for the best time has really brought this category much lower than it otherwise would have gone. That was a decent Enclave DLZ. Not super fast, but not slow.
Yeah, and it's not too bad if it doesn't take that much time, because Basel is running anyway. I mean, you still lose time to not using the alacrity for the running, but you don't lose, like, that much.
Yeah. The Chaos set up a conversation queue where he had Canderous try to talk to the main character, and then he runs away with the main character. So the game constantly thinks Canderous is trying to talk to him, so it won't trigger any other cutscenes or conversations, such as the one with John about the Mandalorian Raiders or the Kath Hound ambush.
Yep, dialogue queuing, very powerful. Lets us buffer a ton of stuff. So Chaos is already entering to get the first star map. He's gonna door clip here. This trick is, the door clip is consistent, but he's gonna hit 2 DLZs in a row in just a second. So here's the first one. This one goes pretty easily, like most of the time. Yep, he's got his mouse positioned, the added Bastila. So here comes the second DLZ after this buffer. I talked to the droid in our race.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, he gets it immediately. Really nice DLZ.
That's a unique DLZ because we're not hitting a loading zone, we're hitting the trigger for the star map cutscene. So we're able to get the star map from a distance and then just do a quick hotshot to work back to the enclave. A hotshot is just a glitch that combines the characteristics of 2 save files and effectively lets you teleport back to any module you've already been in as long as you have the right saves.
You have done well in discovering the star.
What was Bink's swoop time? Did you see it?
No, I didn't catch it.
I bet he beat Chaos. In swoop time, at least.
Time saved.
All right. Chaos is off to Kashyyyk. The main crux of this route is to get the Kashyyyk star map 4 times by doing a glitch known as the routine. The routine is a way of deleting most of the save data for your game. And we do it in such a way that the game forgets that we've already gotten the Kashyyyk star map. And so we're able to reacquire the star map. And because you can get the star maps in any order in the middle game, the game is incrementing our star map variable in the background. And that allows us to just get the same map 4 times, and it's the same effect as if we had gotten all of the different star maps.
Yeah, it's such a powerful glitch that we created a new category called All Star Maps, which uses the same rule set as any % unrestricted, but it requires going to each individual star map in the game. So, yeah, what we're seeing is super pro.
The routine and getting the star map 4 times saves somewhere between 5 and 6 minutes.
Yeesh. Sure. Crazy that All Star Maps is still that fast though.
Yeah. The unrestricted rule set that we're using here allows any glitches, and menu glitches are really powerful. That's how we get Sneak Attack 9. It's how we duplicate the star maps. It's how we do almost everything in these runs. And so any unrestricted run, whether it's any % all star maps or all quests, does some really crazy stuff. It's when you get to the other rule sets like no major glitches and glitchless that you start having to actually play the game somewhat as intended.
Yeah. Whew. So
Binks is
hitting
the
the Enclave DLZ.
This strat Chaos is using here for movement in the lower Shadowlands is actually a strat that was developed today. We used to use the main character to run to the poachers, and now we're using Bastila because Bastila can move earlier in the Jolie cutscene than the main character can.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast everything moves. Like it never stops. New optimizations.
Chaos was a little late on the solo mode there, so his main character got pretty far away. But it's not a biggie. Alright, Binks is heading to the Dantooine star map. He made it out. I have a lot of trouble with the Enclave DLC. For whatever reason, that's one of my upper ones.
He did the old spot, or the like...
Yeah, there's like 4 spots for the Enclave DLC. I think he did the 3rd one. The 3rd and the 4th spot are roughly equivalent, but the 4th spot gets a slightly higher frame rate, which means the game has more chances to check if you're on the right X coordinate. So the 2 ways to make DLCs easier are to have a higher frame rate and to move as slowly as possible in the X direction.
Yep. Lots of DLZs. Alright, Binks hitting the 2 DLZs coming up. Hopefully they both go easily.
Chaos
Nice,
is starting
okay.
the routine process. This whole menu chain that Chaos is going through is essentially two things repeated over and over again. There's a hotshot to warp a party member to the Kashyyyk star map, and then you do the routine to make the game forget that we got the star map. And then you do another hotshot to get back to the star map again, and you rinse and repeat until you've gotten it 4 times.
Yeah, it's a ton of menuing. It's literally just like non-stop menuing for a few minutes. Because everything you're doing hot shots, and then you're doing the actual routine where you wipe the memory. It's just all done through menu glitches using the options menu and the main menu.
As
and
well
then
as
overlaying to menus, a load game menu. What were you saying?
fast lanes too, which let us return to the Ebon Hawk from everywhere. So there's
Ooh, yeah.
3 different glitches that are all taking place over and over again. And it's chaos, but it's a good kind of chaos.
Yeah, so he just got the star map. He immediately uses fast lane to return to the oh, okay. See, he's doing a menuing, interesting. So yeah, he's doing the routine where he wipes his memory. He's gonna load it, and now he has to do 2 hot shots to get back to the star map.
Yep.
Yeah, what we just talked about.
Binks is
flying
on the
to
way
Kashyyyk.
back to Kashyyyk, yep.
It's got to do with 2 map cutscene skips here, where you can actually skip a large cutscene by manually, as soon as you press fly to the planet, you can open the map menu from the top right corner before the cutscenes play, and you can use the return to Ebon Hawk transit feature to just return to the Ebon Hawk on the new planet. So it puts you outside the Ebon Hawk, new planet, skips cutscenes, skips a bunch of stuff. It's great.
Yeah, that's a pretty simple glitch, but it's pretty powerful. It saves minutes on its own.
Yeah, it saves a ton of time.
Chaos is so solid right now.
Yep. He should be, I can't remember if this is his 3rd or 4th,
This
but you have to do
should be
4.
the last one.
Yep, this is the last one.
After the
Hopefully he
last
does
one,
his timer correct this time.
you talk to the star map computer to warp your main character over there, and this sets up for a hotshot later on the Star Forge. Binks has done the GP warp to get to the Shadowlands. We actually trigger the Bastila torture cutscene. We can skip it completely with a map cutscene skip, but if you do that, you won't get Dark Side Bastila, even if you go Dark Side. You'll get Light Side Bastila instead. And this is bad because Light Side Bastila does not come with 10 thermal detonators. And we need those thermal detonators in order to kill Malik later. So we intentionally trigger that cutscene so that we can get the thermal detonators later.
So there's also one RNG spot that Chaos just did where you fly to Lahan and you want to get a fighter skirmish because doing a glitch to skip the fighter skirmish puts you on the beach faster than not getting the fighter skirmish and running outside. And he got it first try, so that's actually pretty huge. So now he has to do 2 DLZs, one of them being one of the hardest DLZs in the entire run, the Summit DLZ. So this is a pretty big moment for whether or not his run is going to be like ungodly or just really good. Okay, honestly, that was really good. That was good.
You always hope for the instant DLZ, but that's pretty solid.
Yeah, like that is the reasonable DLZ, reasonable good DLZ.
One other
you can get them instant.
Yeah, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
One other thing about that skirmish skip that you mentioned, it's actually required in order to do something called parts skip. Because if you go to the Lahan Ebon Hawk at all, you have to repair the hyperdrive before you can leave, and so you have to get ship parts on Lahan. But by doing the skirmish skip, you never actually set foot on the Lahan version of the Ebon Hawk. And so by doing a hotshot back to the regular Ebon Hawk, we can go to the Starforge without having to repair the ship. But it only works if you get fighter skip.
Yeah, that was such an amazing find, a couple years ago. And
that was, I think, a lane find.
That was definitely mostly a lane find. I think he had the idea, found out it could work, and then him and Chaos probably sat in a voice call.
All right, so Binks is going through starting
Yep.
his routine segment, and Chaos is heading to Malik.
Yep.
Sure.
Starforge is like, you know, it's really not very hard, honestly. So once you're here and you have a really good run, you feel pretty good. I say that Chaos has thrown some world record pace runs recently to Starforge, but really, like, you know, it's all like pretty familiar territory.
Yeah, compared to the routine and the double DLZ on Lahan, it's relatively low stress. The trick Chaos is doing here is called a double hot shot. He is doing a GP warp to warp his main character to the end of the deck, and then he does a hot shot to warp to Kashyyyk, and an immediate hot shot to warp back to the Starforge. And all this does is make it so that Bastila spawns out of bounds in the Starforge, and so the game defaults her position to be next to the main character, and so he can then go through the door to the next deck. And this happens both on deck 1 and deck 2. And you even do the same thing on deck 3, but that time Bastila spawns inbounds, and she ends up at the end of the deck and able to trigger the Malik conversation right outside the viewing platform.
Yeah, and shout out to Indy for devising that strat, which actually an insane strat, like completely changed the way we did Starforge. This, and it was recent too, so it just feels crazy that you're still finding stuff that big. I mean, recent. It was like a year and a half or 2 years ago, probably, but that's kind of recent.
Yeah, I was doing the same warp for all star maps.
All star maps. That was like a year.
And then I was like, we can just do this here. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, it's really nice. Those hotshots are great.
All right, Binks
has
used.
Oh yeah, sorry about.
Sorry, Binks has his second star map on Kashyyyk.
Nice. He's getting some good practice in, that's for sure.
All right. Chaos is about to enter the Malik fight.
All right, so
looking at a pretty good time here.
This is a crazy run also. Holy shit. Excuse me. Holy cow.
I think it's not as good as this last run, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. Well, it feels consistent the whole time.
He's not making many mistakes, that's for sure. But I think some of his DLZs were a little bit slower than last time. When you get to the level that Chaos and Range are at, the main thing is how quickly you can get your DLZs, because they're so solid on everything else, the execution and everything. So the real decider is DLZs, and also
this Malik fight is going horribly.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough Malik fight.
Heal! What?
Oh no! I have never seen Bastila die during that fight.
That's so funny. Okay, well, I was really curious what time that was gonna be.
Luckily, he had a quick save right outside the Malik fight, so it's not a huge. God. I mean, it's a huge time loss, but it's not a crippling time loss.
What?
So basically, with the Malik fight, you want Malik to move as little as possible. You want to kind of alternate thermals between Bastila and the main character so that he's basically stun locked. The problem is your main character is level 3, so he's really weak and can die pretty easily, and then you're stuck with just Bastila doing thermals like he's got right now.
Yeah, and it's just tough because the way he gets shifted from the thermals can cause them to miss, or like to cause the next thermals to miss.
Yeah,
and
you don't want
kind of
to miss.
There's like ways to work around it, but like it's not really consistent, and sometimes like even if you do what you normally do, it just doesn't feel like it works that well.
In any case, GG to Chaos. He wins the first semifinal, and so he'll be moving on to the final to face the winner of semifinal 2. Binks looks like he's heading to Lahan. So he has
GG to Chaos.
He has a couple DLZs to go here.
Alright, first try fighter skirmish? What's up? Gotta use that alacrity. There you go.
You have more or less one spare alacrity in the run, and there's a chance you'll need to use it on Bastila on Dantooine if you get a really fast Enclave DLC. But what I do is if I still have two here, I just use them both to kind of clear the menu for the stims we get from Bastila. Instant first DLC, that was really good.
Yes.
And a pretty good Summit DLC too.
Nice, sorry. I'm still
What?
freaking out that he bombed himself that many times as Bastel. Poor guy. It looks like he was close to world record still.
The Malik fight
He
is
was
pretty
3
tricky.
seconds.
Revan.
Yeah,
Come
it
on,
is
Bastila.
tricky, but like, yeah, he should have run Bastel away.
Yeah, I have never seen Bastila die.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for Bastel to die. She's beefy. She's got a lot of health.
She's level 18 compared to our main character's level 3. So comparatively, she has a ton of HP. But, you know, if you keep getting caught by stray thermals, you know, thermals take care of most of Malik's 300 some odd hit points, though. All right.
Yep.
That was a pretty good Lahan from Binks. And now we're headed to the Starforge. So this cutscene heading to the Starforge used to be known as the unskippable cutscene because, well, we couldn't skip it. And then when the Anywhere menu glitch was found back in 2019, we realized that with a menu glitch during that cutscene, we could use a free look, so you could use your sort of first-person camera, and those cutscenes are constructed or scripted basically on camera movements. And so by going into first-person mode, you break the script of the cutscene, and it just skips to the last line. And so that is a 2.5 minute cutscene that we skip in about 7 seconds.
Sure.
Yes?
Yeah, that's a huge skip. It's so nice. We have like 5 different ways to do huge skips. So we can just kind of pick and choose which one works best depending on all the situations. You know, maybe for that one you have to use free look, but like no cutscene skip may not work.
So Binks is doing just a slightly older strat here. He's doing a double GP warp, so he's getting his character into position at the end of the module, and then instead of doing a hot shot to warp Bastila to the end, he's going to run Bastila to the GP spot and then do another GP warp to warp her to the end.
Sure.
This is slightly slower, but it's also a little bit safer. You can do hot shots wrong and get your save files messed up.
I'm here.
Whereas this is all within the same module, so you don't have to worry too much about things going wrong.
Yes?
Looks like he's also doing the older strat for the command center as well.
Ooh, yeah. He should definitely learn that new strat. It's very nice.
So
Not too hard.
Any percent at this point has gone through so many iterations.
What can I do?
Even in this sort of current form where we're duplicating star maps, there have been, you know, strats upon strats upon strats. And so if you learn the route, like 2 months later, there can be, you know, 3 new strats that save a little bit of time. So unless you're really focused on it, it can be kind of hard to keep up with all the changes. And I know Binks does a fair amount of no major glitches running as well.
And other games as well.
Yes, and other games as well.
I think Binks, he runs Jedi Outcast? No.
Jedi...
Newer. What's
Fallen
the first
Order.
one? In,
Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order. He plays Fallen
Yeah.
Order. Speedruns that. And some other games too, if I don't remember.
All right, so he's gonna do another hot shot. This one's gonna warp Bastila forward, but because he's in a different position using a different save, he's going to spawn Bastila not at the end of the command center, but just inside the room where you would normally fight either Bastila or the 3 Sith Masters. So he will then have to warp Bastila to the end of the deck using a GP warp, which just takes a little bit longer. He's having a little bit of trouble with this, I think.
Yeah, like the nice part about all these new strats is that like they end up cutting out a lot of unnecessary stuff, and like I remember this strat and I'd say it's harder than what we do now, you know.
He's getting caught in the so when you're doing a hotshot, you're basically opening an options menu behind the menu that you can see. And sometimes when you have that extra options menu, you can get into something like the graphics menu or the audio menu. And that can kind of mess up your hotshot if you're not expecting it. So the last time he was doing this, I noticed he ended up in the audio menu, I think it was. All right, so he's got Bastila warped ahead. He's going to trigger the GP warp. And then you just have to, the way a GP warp works is you warp to the closest load zone. So you have to make sure that you don't trigger the warp until you're closest to the load zone you want to go to. So he has to run Bastila a little bit further so she's closer to the end of the module than the start of the module. And we'll see how his Malak fight goes.
So, yep, the final confrontation.
Do you think Bastila will die?
Probably not. Especially if he isn't starting. Well, I don't even know. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't.
It's hard to do that.
Because what usually happens is Malak, if you have a good rhythm on the thermals, Malak gets knocked pretty far away from your characters.
Yeah, and
Usually
even like, he'll even run out of force power. Like, if Malak uses all of his force power, it auto starts the second stage of the fight, which is all you need to beat the game in this category.
Yeah, so we're using this AMG to skip the second phase of the fight.
Yep.
And he's
yeah,
done.
We skipped so much. Yep, and that's
congrats.
Time. GG's. Yeah, thanks, Binks.
That's a really good showing from someone who
hope
just
that was another
recently
PB.
picked this up.
Yeah, actually, very looks like he knows the route pretty well.
And Chaos with a nice solid run. He'll be on to the finals, and we'll get our second semifinal going pretty soon here. So good luck in your next race range.
GG's both players. Thank you. Yeah. I'm gonna head out in a second.
The Sith Armada has cut us off.
Oh wait, we have to race.
Yeah, we're the next race.
We're the next racers.
So good luck to us, I guess.
Yep. Good luck to you.
Malak is dead.
That was a fun race to watch.
All hail the return of Darth Revan, the true Lord of the Sith.
It was. Chaos done 2 crazy runs back to back. And then he did a magnificent choke in that one.
The Jedi Order is in tatters.
But it's really insane that he did that 2 runs that good back to back.
It's actually better to do that than to mess up the last AMG, because then you at least have a convenient safety save.
Yeah, I think if you mess up the last AMG, you need to wire target him.
Yeah.
Or no, wait. Does it just
well, but it's hard. It's hard to wire target because you may not have a save for a hostile Malak.
Yeah, so you'd have to like
actually, I guess
back to him.
You could talk to him and make him go hostile, and that would work.
Oh, it starts second phase if you talk to him.
Yeah. So you would save behind him, and then have him go hostile,
Okay.
For the second phase.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Yep. So Chaos is on to the final. And now we have semifinal number 2 between Indy and Range.
All right. I'm gonna head back to the KOTOR Discord channel. Bye.
Cool. Well, welcome everyone for the second semifinals race. I'm Chaos Drifter, and I'm joined by Phantom.
Phantom 567459, or just Phantom.
So yeah, this has been actually a really great series of races for us. I've been really impressed with the turnout from a lot of our other members, and yeah, I've been impressed with myself. I haven't been too impressed with my competitors' range in Indy. I think they said a lot of key words about me last run, so we'll see how well they hold up under scrutiny. What do you think, Phantom?
I think we gotta make fun of Range here for a second. He keeps going Mullet Man. I don't think Mullet Man's the play here.
Excuse me. Mullet Man
That's Mullet Man's always the play.
Okay, yeah, that's where. All right. Oh no, you're good. So yeah, and Indy going his Space Girl. Not so sure about that.
So I guess the first technical thing is that the reason none of us go female is because the DLZ queues are just ever so slightly different if you use the character model. So going female could really mess someone like me up who barely can hit the DLZs to begin with.
Right. So we basically all. Oh, and we're off. So go ahead. You know, we've seen a lot of this so far. A lot of it should be basically the same with the load-ins and all that kind of stuff. So this will be a good opportunity to talk about the DLZ, like you were mentioning. Now, everyone runs male, and Range and I are the current top two runners at the moment. So a lot of other runners are going to follow our lead, but Indy's going to be a trailblazer, and he's working on getting all of the locations for the female model. The DLZ line is the same regardless, but you can't see the same visual cues for the models. This is because we will look at things such as their feet or legs or arms or whatever, some part of their body to be a symbol for where we want to get the DLZ. So with, I'm going to refer to the male model a lot for these DLZ lines, but in that previous one that you saw, on the left calf, the left foot, on the right side, there's a little nodule that you want to be just past.
Just in time.
Trust me, this makes sense whenever you're doing it. But Range already has a little bit of a lead. Really, that lead is almost entirely because of the DLZ. It's not anything about some sort of significant skill difference. So
Indy had a little bit of trouble hitting it, but that can happen. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the variation in this route does seem to be the DLZs. There's some execution stuff that can go wrong, but I think we're going to see some pretty high-level execution in this race.
Range decides to do the Skelly Flu before he does the dupe here. That's fine. I think he's wrong, but that's okay. Indy does it as well, but you know, Indy's Indy, so he's allowed to do whatever he wants.
We gotta talk to our favorite shopkeeper, Lareem.
Excellent menuing out of Range there. And it looks like Indy's going to go for a slightly different strat, where he'll just do the equips himself. It's a lot less menu-intensive work, and really, you have to be really top-notch to be able to make those menus actually faster. And it looks kind of similar with what he did there, but he just doesn't include the dupe. He being Indy in this case.
This is one of my favorite little micro optimizations in the run with splitting up the party here. Yeah. I love this little thing.
Yeah, actually, I think this is one of my favorite menus because it's so satisfying to like do the purchasing and then the tab over and then open up the menu for the inventory. Super satisfying to feel. Now, I'm not sure if other commentators have talked about the satisfaction of menuing, but it is very real. Once you get to higher levels of it and you start getting time saves just because your menuing is better, it's very nice. Ooh, Range forgot to delete his saves from his past run, so that's actually going to cost him some time and give Indy an opportunity to catch up. Assuming that he did. Okay, he only makes 2 saves here, and now we're even.
We're even. It's about who's going to hit this DLZ faster.
Now this is probably Indy gets it.
Indy pulls ahead.
This is one of the most volatile DLZs in the whole run, and both Range and I hate this DLC.
I practiced it. I was using a totally different cue whenever I did it, and then yesterday I learned the one that everybody else uses. But it's hard.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. Either way, it's hard. There's not really a winning move there, unfortunately. It's just that one way is technically speaking faster, and the other one is just basically the same. Indy takes a lot of time, a lot of quick saves there. I think that's not quite the move because there's all that buffer time. But they are entering into the governor fight at exactly the same moment. Let's see who ends up having the better governor fight. There's a fairly high chance of one of them going to the 4th round. That was not a good start for Indy. Good second hit.
Good second hit. Range pulls ahead on the governor's fight.
Range pulls ahead with the governor. Range is probably going to pull ahead here with this menu because this menu is really technical unless you decide to... Oh, looks like Indy is going for it. He will save a little bit of time because he won't have to do all of the menus because he already has his VSync still off from before. Here we go. But looks like Range is pulling ahead pretty significantly here. What kind of grenade did he get? I can't see exactly what kind of grenade Range got. I'll have to check in a second. Did he also get frags? Oh man, Range got frags. I wonder what might happen later in the run. Oh man, this is brutal for Indy though. This DLC is really, really tricky. Oh, did he lose his stems? Oh gosh. Okay. That's fine. There's still plenty of opportunities. One of the things about this current route is that there is a lot of chances for mistakes. Honestly, there's so many opportunities where something could just go completely wrong and it destroys your run. Like Bastila dying. That could just kill your run and make you lose a minute.
Yeah, one of the things that happened in my run that's, you know, you don't... I forgot to unequip something as simple as unequipping, and then my Gaddon fight took forever because only my main character had weapons.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it. Ugh. Hey, shit happens, right?
Yep. Alright. Range is going to get ready to do swoops here. It looks like Indy's going to try to make up a little bit of time on these, trying to hit these DLCs quickly.
There we go. Indy got it. Now, on one hand, I really do like Indy's ingenuity here with that.
Oh, nice. Nice, quick Gaddon kill there.
So this is something really, really tiny, but the way Indy did that hot shot there is different than I think both Range and I how we do it. So what he did is he went into the loading screen with a AMG anywhere menu glitch up, and so that allowed him to do his hot shot much quicker instead of having to make a hard save, then toggle the menu, then do the hot shot. So it saves him a little bit of time, but he does have to frisk around in a menu a little bit more sensitively, because if he messes up that menu, it's going to be trouble. Range doesn't manage to get a 22. It's quite sad. Let's see if Indy can pull off a 22 here. I think that will make him the real champion. This race is determined by swoop races, right?
Yep. Swoop races is the only way to win this.
And that means because I got a 22, no one's going to beat me, right? We're not going to think of the time that I crashed.
No, I beat you because I had to run it a second time.
Oh, right. See? Indy already won. He got a 23.01 and Range got a 23.09. That clearly means Indy's just faster. Alright, Range is about to leave. Now, you're going to notice another difference here coming up. Because Range is going to unequip his blasters and equip a vibro sword, sorry. Now, this was some literally brand new tech today that, as I say that, if Indy were to hear me, he would say, no, I've been doing this for years. What are you talking about? But this is some brand new tech today of not using or letting main character keep his blasters.
okay.
It should be a little bit faster in theory, but I mean, when I say a little bit faster, I'm talking about less than a second over the course of the run. But it will have ramifications throughout, and we'll kind of talk about them as they come up. For now, we're going to do. Oh, interesting. He saves over the top slot. I wonder why he saves over the top slot there. How would that affect things? No, I think that that's just wrong.
Yeah, I'm here.
I think that range saving over the top slot there is just straight up wrong. And so talk. Ooh, that's a small mistake. Okay. Yeah, range missed his AMG there, so he's actually gonna get really bad calf hounds. All right, let's see Indy get a really good. See, Indy does the same thing too. I think that doing it like this is actually a mistake.
I'm here.
So when it comes up in a second, I'll explain, because I'll be getting ahead of myself pretty far. All right, Indy, you can catch up right here. Get the AMG.
That could be what's in the guide. Probably a lot of us do the same thing. I'd have to look a little bit closer
it's a
though.
new hotshot is the thing.
Oh, this is the new hotshot. I knew nothing about it. I had enough trouble learning the old ones.
Come on, Indy, get the DLZ. Don't let range run away with this. This has actually been a really good race for the two of them. Come on, Indy, you can do it. Ooh, great DLZ from range. Now that one's really wide, so you are expected to get it pretty quickly, but that was pretty fantastic, gotta say. Okay, well, let's see how the second one goes. Now, honestly, this DLZ is kind of RNG.
Range does not have to talk to the droid. He said he did that in the first round.
Nice, nice. He got the DLZ. Indy here is still struggling with getting this DLZ. Okay, so if you notice there, range did have to escape that. There we go, Indy.
Indy hit the DLZ. There we go.
Okay, so if you noticed, range had to like do what we call them menu shifts, where you have to press escape or some other menu twice in order to close out of the menus and regain control. Well, if you do a bottom slot hard save, like I was talking about, then you don't have to do that because of where the Neo Hotshot puts you into the menu list. So they're effectively wasting time.
Very important time.
Yep. We're talking about like maybe a quarter of a second amount of time. But you know what? Honestly, at the caliber of play we're at now, a quarter of a second does start to add up.
Oh, no.
Oh, we lost Indy.
Indy, does internet... Oh, no, his game crashed.
Oh, that is really bad. Okay, good. He realized that he had an autosave at the courtyard. Yeah, that's a crash I haven't seen in ages. Yeah, you can just crash there if you walk into the wrong part of the ruins.
Okay. Fascinating. I've not run into that yet.
Yeah. It basically the route that we take is A, shorter, and B, doesn't hit that. And when I say like if you hit the wrong part, I mean like I have only seen it like a few times in my several thousand of attempts. It's very rare.
Alright, so range is about to do this cool coordinate warp that I don't know if anybody's talked about yet. But it warps Bastila halfway across the Great Walkway, and then the main character is going to GP warp Bastila the rest of the way to the basket, cutting out a ton of walking time. Because the Great Walkway is huge to do casually.
Yes?
Alright here. He's gonna get out of the Jolie cutscene, and then he's gonna move the main character over to the emitters.
On Dantooine, I gotta say. This is not looking great. There we go.
Okay, he hit the DLZ. Now it's he's gonna look and try to get some fast menus here to get out of Dantooine.
Okay.
He's hoping range will make a mistake, like I don't know, forgetting to do one routine.
Having Bastila die with thermals.
I'm here.
You have returned.
Oh, range runs right through the mine.
That's yeah. He hasn't. It's surprising me that he hasn't picked up this new strat that I worked on, and I was like, hey, check out this new strat, and then he was like, oh, okay, and then he hasn't learned it yet. It's a pretty simple cue, but he did say it's like it's not that big of a deal. This, that, and the other. Yada yada yada. I don't know. I think it's faster. So therefore, I think range is wrong. All right, tank the mine and take the mine. Take the mine. Oh, he didn't take.
Tank the mine. You can do it. Aw.
There is a flash mine there that if you hit it, it saves you. Or sorry, if you hit the flash mine and it doesn't stun you, it'll save you maybe 100 milliseconds. But if you do get stunned, which you're pretty likely to get stunned, then you will. Did he?
What can I do?
Save? I honestly did not see it.
I'm here. What can I do?
Okay, he must have. I think that the frames are just so low that I didn't see the quick save. Or I blinked. Who knows?
Yeah, if you blink during this routine, you're gonna miss what happens.
Hold here.
All right, so Range is gonna get his first star map here.
One.
Yes.
So yeah, the hardest part about the routine is actually just counting, which sounds dumb, but it's honestly true.
I'm here. What can I do?
Because if you get less than or more than 3, then you've kind of hosed yourself. Less than 3, you can recover. More than 3, you're in trouble.
What can I do?
Because then the variable is all skewed, and I don't think it works anymore, is my understanding. Because the only way you can fly is if you have the variable. If I understand correctly, and I swear to God, Lane, whenever you're listening to this VOD, do not at me with the correct answer. But I'm pretty certain that the way it works is that once you have the variable for number of star maps, it should be 5. Because you get the original, because Dance sets it to 1, and then every other one increments it by 1. So when you get to 5, that's whenever you pop out. But if you were to go to 6, then you would not be able to, because it would be set to 6 and not 5, and that's kind of a problem.
That's the way I understand it as well.
But I see what you're saying, Biggs. Yes, there are 4 times that we get the star map, but you only routine 3 times. Is what I'm getting at. Yeah. Stuff is happening. Oh,
that hurts. Indy.
Yeah, Indy just lost a lot of time.
Yeah, so Bastila is gonna have, the main character is gonna have to walk all the way back to talk to Jolie.
No, he needs to send Bastila back because the main character is gonna die to Kyle. Actually, it doesn't matter. He's gonna need the fast lane.
Oh, yeah, and it looks like.
Yes.
Bastila might.
He's gonna YOLO it.
Yeah, this is sketchy. I'm not gonna lie.
He's going all in.
You better quick save here, bud.
Oh.
Yeah, he just realized how screwed he was. That's funny. The moment when you realize you effed up. Okay, let's talk about range here. So range is still just routining. Never mind, he's no longer routining. He's done. I hope that was the last one. Let's see what happens. Is he good? Did he do everything right? Look at him make these saves. Boom, boom, bada, boom, bow. Here we go, and he's got Lahan.
Okay.
Good for him. All right, so heading to Lahan. So these are these last 2 DLCs are not fun. Basically because we ooh, nice. You got first try fighters. Good. I'm interested to know what his splits look like after this. But I don't think he has it set up so we can see his actual splits. Was he talking to the Giska there? That's funny.
Is he gonna save or kill the Giska? Oh wait, different run.
Yeah, can't even choose here.
Yep.
All right, let's see these DLZs. Good.
Good first DLZ.
Okay, now the second one. Here we go. This is the rough one. Either this one works immediately or it doesn't. Come on, Range, you can do it. I mean, I'm supposed to be shit-talking to you here. I mean, Range, you can't do it. Let Indy catch up. Indy could catch up right now if Range really struggles here on this DLC. It is technically possible. Never mind.
I was gonna say, Indy's doing his coordinate warp. He's gonna get his first star map.
Life on.
All right.
All right, we had this explained already. We got this cute little hotshot back, and that means we can skip ship parts, and lowering the force field, skip the unskippable cutscene, and Range is going to be on the Starforge now.
Gosh, I really wish I could see his splits right now.
Indy, I lost track of how many star maps he has. I hope he knows how many star maps he has.
I think he's on 3. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really paying attention to Range. Range really has me beat on Starforge. My Starforge is pretty mediocre, honestly. It's not mediocre. I shouldn't say that. It's just, you know, I keep messing things up on Starforge consistently. So Range's Starforge is pretty head and shoulders better than mine. One thing that's really nice about our community is how willing to teach and to learn from each other we all are. I'm sure that's really present in a lot of other speed communities, which I'm not really a part of, but being in the KOTOR speedrunning community, I really do feel a lot of love and compassion from the other runners and trying to help each other. It's honestly one of the best parts about being part of the community.
As somebody who is, you know, I've run some of the Xbox categories and stuff like that. Indy, Range, Chaos, Lane, they've all helped make that Xbox route a reality. And anytime I've had a question about this route, they're almost always right there, ready to answer a question that I have because I've had a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we were really excited to see that Xbox run come through because we've talked about it for years. Now we're just waiting on someone to run mobile.
That will not be me. I hate the mobile version. I can't do the touch controls.
I did have the iPad version on for a while and just never got around to finishing a playthrough of it. Not a run, not actually trying to speedrun it.
I got like halfway through the game on my Fire tablet.
Nice. Was that first try Fighters?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
Let's go.
All right, we're gonna watch the Range Malik fight here. Will Bastila die? That's the real question.
Now, if you guys remember, Range has frags.
He's gonna forget he has frags. Bastila's gonna die.
See, he queued the frags, and the frags suck. And now he's realizing that he needs to queue thermals.
He's playing really safe here.
Yeah, he's playing safe. Look how far away he is from these thermals. But you can see how like the main character just like ran right on up to Malik. That's the kind of stuff that'll just happen whenever this goes on. It's very difficult to control.
Continue to.
All right, and with that, Range is going to be our victor. So him and I are going to race to the finals. I'm hoping that I can keep up the paces that I was getting earlier, but I may have gone cold. That's what I'm a little bit afraid of. But great run from Range. Indy's had some unfortunate mishaps happen with Kashik issues. and with Dantooine, but everything else from Indy has been really smooth. With the two of them tied up all the way through most of Terrace, actually. They were really close through most of Terrace.
Yeah, I think you know, most of Terrace was okay. I think what really did Indy in was the Dantooine Enclave DLZ.
Yeah, that really hurt. Actually, you know, if he had gotten that at the speed of range, which sounds like rolling around at the speed of sound, just replace that with range. Rolling around at the speed of range, got places to go,
the rest of his one was really solid. It would have been really close.
Yeah, it would have been. So yeah, I'm excited to race range here. Hope that we can give you a good show for the end. I'm looking for redemption, honestly. Last week, Range and I raced for a GDQ hotfix for a very similar event, and Range beat me out. So I'm totally not salty at all, and I hope that I can take it back. Take it back now, y'all. One PB this time.
Great, Indy. These teleports here, like you were talking about earlier, I got my menus messed up, and I was so nervous about these teleports, and it just took me forever to hit them.
Oh, which ones?
What can I do?
The hot shots?
The double hot shots, yep.
What?
Yep. Yeah, they are tricky and they're scary when you're at the end of your run, making sure you don't mess it up. In my last run that I had a little bit ago, there is a occasional time whenever you load in with an AMG where the OK will be highlighted instead of cancel. And that happened to me twice in my last run. So you have to adjust. You have to react and adjust. So that can be kind of... That is unfortunate.
Yeah, you got the Malik cutscene. Looks like he's trying to get in there so he can hard buffer it again.
There we go.
It's unfortunate, but he saved it very quickly. I would have freaked out.
I would have freaked out. Okay.
Yes?
All right, final stretch.
I'm here.
So this fight goes. Oh, that's interesting. He cues the door to make sure the basilisk
What can I
falls.
do?
Very interesting. I've never had a problem with that, but can't blame him. All right, here we go.
Well done, Revan. I was once.
What can I do?
Alright, no frags to worry about.
I'm here. What can I do?
Now, Malik can actually die, quote unquote, two ways here. So either his HP will get blown up, or he'll spam Force Lightning enough that he'll run out of Force points and he needs to go and suck the Jedi Popsicle. Yeah, GG to Andy, GG to both runners.
Good race overall.
I'm
disappointing how it went, but yeah.
What their times were, but yeah. Thank you for having us on. Phantom, any final words from you?
Nope. Thanks a lot for having me on as well. It's been a great event so far. Glad to be a part of it. Can't wait to watch the finals. Good luck, Chaos. Good luck, Range.
finals of our mini KOTOR tournament here. We have Range versus Chaos Drifter, the number 1 and number 2 any% runners, and with Chaos's PB tonight, they are 1 second away from each other in PB and world record. So this should be a great race. We're really looking forward to seeing it. We're gonna have one race for all the marbles, and we'll see if it comes down to DLZ luck or if someone will make a critical error. All right. Chaos has been really consistent lately, both today during this tournament and previously. So I might make him the slight favorite, but these two are so close that any small margin of error could decide it. If you want, sure. All right. We have here my co-commentator, Binks Magnus. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. I'm excited to see the top 2 runners race here. Looks like we're getting started.
Yeah, Chaos and Range are very close in their PB time and overall skill level, so anytime they race, it's usually pretty fun to watch. And thanks again to RGL TV for putting the event on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a great time. I hope Chaos manages not to get Bastila killed this time.
We'll see who picks up frags on Terrace.
Yeah. All right, they're getting started here.
And we are off.
It always feels like this Spire DLZ is key to getting a kind of a good run going. It's only 15 seconds in, but it's the first reset point, so when you get a good one, it kind of feels good.
It definitely does. There's a big mental game with DLZs overall, but just this being the first one kind of sets the tone for the whole run.
I'm not sure what Chaos is doing here.
I'm tracking your position through the Endar Spire's life support.
Did a little dance.
Is away. You're the last surviving crew member.
Spin around in the hallway. And...
So I can't wait for you much.
Yeah, so Range has an early lead here.
The DLZ makes a big difference early on in the runs, but there's a ton of micro on Endar Spire that goes into getting a good time to get off the level, taking good lines through these hallways, mashing through the first cutscene really fast, and just avoiding getting stuck on level geometry is a huge part of getting good times out.
Yeah, and you can even get unlucky and hit what we call a pothole, where you're running down the center of a hallway and you just stop moving.
Yeah, it's one of the more aggravating things about KOTOR speedrunning in general. You're just running in a straight line, not hitting anything, and your character just stops for no discernible reason.
Yeah, I would say it's that and your party members not following you.
Yeah.
All right, Range looking like he's got a solid sneak attack flu here.
Sure.
These two are so automatic with that. And that was a slick equip menu too. It's interesting that Range does that equip so early because he doesn't actually have the armor yet. So he can't equip the armor in the same menu that he equips the blasters.
Yeah, I think he'll equip the armor as soon as he goes out the door. There's a little trick that I think Lane taught me how to do this. You put the mouse in the lower right, and then you just open the equipment menu, and it's enter up, enter.
Yeah.
So it's probably way easier to optimize it in 2 equips without having the heavy combat suit.
Yeah, and opening a menu really doesn't have any time cost associated to it, so there's nothing really wrong with taking a longer menu and splitting it into a couple parts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Small mistake on the GP warp from Range, but not a big deal. Chaos is getting ready to buy his stims. Range is doing an autosave hotshot here, which is going to warp his party to the default spawn location in Upper City North, which just so happens to be near the DLZ spot for the Sith base. And let's see how that goes. Very nice from range. That was a pretty good.
Very fast DLC.
Chaos is right behind him. We have two mullet men going against each other here. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Mullet Man is a favorite character of the whole community. I know you run unrestricted with the female main character, but
yeah,
I think If you select any other character in character creation, you have to go back and do it again.
I use Mullet Man in like 4 other categories, so I switch it up for this one.
Here we get a good wire target on the governor. Good first round. We should be able to get a 3-round out of this for range. There we go.
Yep. And a quick hot shot back to the upper city north to do the lower city DLC. Both our runners survived the Sith base, so no problems there.
Yeah, they both are throwing caution to the wind a little bit. There is a strategy you can do that loses about 10 seconds where you hotshot back to the Endar Spire and get what we call plot armor, which makes you invincible for the rest of the game. So you don't have to worry about dying in Sith base or in the Shadowlands, but neither Range or Chaos have elected to go that route. That loses at least 7 seconds, but is safer for races.
Yeah, but these two are on such a cutting edge that they're like incapable of doing a strat that actually wastes time.
What's a safety strat?
Little trouble on the lower city DLC for Chaos here. Range had a decent one. So Range is opening up a bit of a lead here.
Yeah, these DLCs, I think there are 10 of them throughout the whole route that we do right now, but other than these, there aren't so many points where you can really build a huge lead at similar skill levels. I mean, most of the mistakes that you could make, as long as they don't potentially kill your entire run, they're usually fixable within 5 seconds or so.
Yeah. And despite all this crazy menuing that's going on, really the glitches in KOTOR are pretty consistent, with the exception of DLCs, I would say. Well, Range has killed Gadden. He's heading to the swoops.
Yeah, you want to kill Gadden really fast there, because if you don't kill him in 1 round, he can kind of mess your day up. He can heal himself, and then his bodyguard has a tendency to one-shot you or Karth if you give her the opportunity to attack you, so you really want to get that combat done in 1 round.
So Chaos did a new strat there where after doing the Volcar clip, he hotshots back to Upper City North and does the Lower City DLC again. If you get this really smoothly, it saves about 4 to 5 seconds. So that's really a bleeding edge strat that he is perhaps brash to use in this race setting, but like I said, incapable of doing a strat which loses time.
And as Chaos likes to say, the swoop time really determines the whole race. So let's see what Range
Chaos
can
is
pull out.
going to lose this fight to Gadden. That's a big trouble.
Yeah, as you see, the main character went down almost instantly there. The bodyguard and Gadden really don't play around.
Yeah, so in theory, your sneak attack 9 is enough to one-shot Gadden, but sometimes you miss and sometimes you just don't quite roll high enough. So if that happens, there is a risk, and Chaos unfortunately ran into that right there.
Yeah, the way sneak attack works is it adds 1d6 damage to any successful attack against an opponent that you have an advantage on. Either you're behind them or you're in some sort of stealth. Basically, any attack that they can't respond to. So sneak attack 9, we should be getting between 9 and 54 extra points of damage.
Yeah, you usually see in the 30s and 40s with blasters.
Mm-hmm. And we are dual wielding, so I mean, on average, about 60 damage per attack round. Not a whole lot is going to survive that in this run.
It's actually fairly recently that we switched to blasters. We used to use fiber blades, but if you have a blaster, you get the +10 to your chance to hit when you're next to a melee fighter. And the only 2 people we fight in this run is the governor and Gaddon, who are both melee fighters. So switching to blasters gives you a lot more consistency on those fights, but it does do slightly less damage. Alright, so range is on Dantooine. He's setting up to do the Enclave DLZ here. After his unfortunate fight with Gaddon, Chaos is off to Swoops.
Yeah, this setup for the Enclave DLZ is actually relatively new. We only started doing it this way a few days ago, and some of us still haven't learned it, but we always used to go towards the left there to head towards the council, and there is kind of a convenient visual cue there. Oh, and range gets it pretty quickly, but Canderous is out of range, so he gets the gather party text.
You can't go through a load zone if your party's too far away from you, and a DLZ is triggering a load zone. So unfortunately, Canderous didn't follow range closely enough, and he had to redo the DLZ. But he got it reasonably quickly the second time.
Yeah, usually Canderous follows you pretty well through that hallway. So I don't really know why some people get that problem more frequently than others. It might be something to do with the way you move through the hallway there.
I've found that it happens a little more frequently to me with this new DLZ spot. Not totally sure why, but it was a little unlucky. So it's like Chaos is off to leave Terrace here.
And range has a pretty good Cathound pattern as he goes towards the ruins. Love to see it.
Yeah, there's like 3 different patterns those Cathounds can take.
Yeah, I generally prefer it when they spawn pretty far back. If they spawn right at the intersection next to all the rocks, they can just kind of array themselves in a pattern that makes it impossible to move through them. Especially when they start to attack you, you get body blocked pretty badly.
Yeah, there's one pattern that is just trickier than the others, but if you know how to handle it, it's not a huge... Alright, range has the Dantooine map. He's now warping back to talk to the council. And Chaos has reached Dantooine, so he's going to be doing the Enclave DLZ as fast as he can here.
What? Ah, you have returned, young Padawan. Have you discovered what it was?
We do a neat little trick here where we kind of abuse the fact that there's a NPC Bastila in addition to our party Bastila. When we warp back to the Enclave, we do a quick save and quick load. And the NPC Bastila who's standing with the council becomes our party Bastila, so we're able to talk to the council very quickly that way.
What can I do?
Pretty good Enclave DLZ from Chaos. And range is off to Kashyyyk.
And this section for range with the conversations with the council is, I think, one of the more interesting uses of the transit back to Ebonhawk feature that isn't even really a glitch in this category, or at least isn't used in a glitched fashion at this particular time. We use that in other categories quite a bit to get past cutscenes that we would otherwise have to watch, and NPCs that we'd have to talk to, but it's one of the least broken things in this run, but is actually pretty fast.
What can I do?
Range went a little past the Ebonhawk trigger there, so he ran up the ramp.
Hold here.
Chaos is having a little trouble with this DLZ into the ruins.
Yes?
Go. DLZs, because of the way KOTOR stores coordinates, get easier if your coordinates are further from the origin. So that Ruins DLZ that Chaos just did is actually pretty far from the origin, so it's one of the theoretically easier ones to get.
We say theoretically easier because numerically it would work out that you would get it more frequently, but DLZs are, even the easy ones are, you know, they're easy until they're not, and then they just ruin your day.
Exactly. So you notice range equipped a sword. If you have a melee weapon equipped, you can use flourish weapon to move easily during cutscenes. You can also, I think Chaos will do this strat when he gets here, you can also manipulate your party members so that the cutscene freezes Bastila instead of your main character. And that way you save having to equip a sword, but it's a really minor difference.
Who we
Yeah, this is something I didn't know about. You swap to Bastila right before the cutscene activates, and it freezes her instead of you, and you don't have to flourish. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so basically, when Callow starts talking, your active party member gets frozen in place because they're supposed to be talking to Callow. But swapping to a different party member, you can run around normally. And so by having Bastila be the active party member when Callow starts talking, you can have your MC move freely even though they're not holding a melee weapon. So it's just kind of a slick little manipulation of how KOTOR treats conversations. Okay, so Chaos is heading to Kashyyyk, and Range is about to start doing the routine.
Range taking a little safe route there. As I think Phantom and Chaos mentioned earlier, there is a little flash mine on the corner right before you turn left past the attack poachers that I think is a DC 10 to stun you.
Yep.
It saves not even a second to run through it and hope you don't get stunned, but
I
go
bet
around
anything Chaos is going to go for that.
Yeah.
So we mentioned this during one of the previous races, but basically Range is doing a series of 3 glitches in a row here. He does a hotshot to warp one of his party members over to the map. Then he uses a fast lane to go back to the Ebon Hawk. And then he uses the routine to delete his save data so that the game forgets that we got the Kashyyyk star map. And so by doing these 3 glitches in succession, he's able to obtain the star map 4 times, and each time increments our star map variable so that the game eventually thinks we've reached all 5 star maps, even though we haven't even been to 3 of the planets.
It has the handy effect of bypassing the increment that normally spawns the Leviathan next time you travel to a planet. So yeah, as said, there's a address in memory that gets incremented by 1 or 10, I can't quite remember, every time you collect a star map. And when the increment is 4 or 40, the Leviathan captures you. But because we bypass 40 without going to another planet and go straight to 50, we never have to see the Leviathan.
It's kind of built into the routine that we don't even need to worry about it. We just never are in a situation where it can get us.
Yeah, and if you watch...
Leviathan skip used to be a big deal. Now it's just like an afterthought.
Mm-hmm. And watching these menu movements, if you have this thought in your head that I have no idea what's going on, don't worry, because you're not alone. Range is so good at flying through these menus at a speed that even someone who runs the game can't always tell what he's doing necessarily. There's a great video of one of his older world records where there's only a single frame of data that shows you that something happened because he's just pushing the buttons that fast.
Yeah. The main crux of the routine is saving while the main menu is up. And that's what deletes your save data.
Yeah, so right here, he's on the main menu, and you see the quick save.
Yeah.
And that's what deletes our... It deletes every module from memory except the one that we're currently in. So it deletes the module that the star map on Kashyyyk is in, so when we return to that module, it's as if we're entering it for the first time, and we're able to collect the map over and over again.
And the reason we can go back quickly is because we have a transit point there from doing the fast lane trick. Chaos is trying to get past this mine. I told you he would do it. He's been stunned 3 times at least. Alright, there he goes. He got through. So Range has opened up a pretty big lead here. Gonna take a lot of trouble with one of the Lahan DLZs, or maybe a mistake on Malik for Chaos to get back into this. We even have a new hotshot method, which is about a week and a half old. And just watching Range and Chaos menu through hotshots, it's quite impressive. So Range got, I think, second try skirmish skip.
Mm-hmm.
And Chaos is... Looks like he closed his game either by mistake or because he made a mistake during the routine.
Yeah, the skirmish skip is one of the interesting things about this category in particular. Normally, when you're speedrunning this game, fighters are an inconvenience. You don't want fighters because you have to kill the fighters, and it takes 10 to 12 seconds if you're really good at it. In this instance, we do actually want to get fighters because it enables us to skip past the intro section to Lahan and I think a cutscene, the stunt cutscene where you arrive.
It also skips the parts. You don't have to repair the Ebon Hawk.
Sure.
That's the main benefit, because getting ship parts requires you to go a little bit out of the way. And if we never visit the Lahan version of the Ebon Hawk, then we never have to repair the hyperdrive. But we need fighter skip in order to skip the Lahan Hawk. And it skips the cutscenes that are associated to it.
Oh, does visiting the Lahan Ebon Hawk delete the other Ebon Hawk?
It deletes... No, I don't think it deletes the Ebon Hawk, but it deletes the rest of your save data. Because normally when you repair the Ebon Hawk, you cannot leave it again, and you're forced into going to the Starforge. But we skip that in this category because of part skip. But that's not really too big a deal in this category. It's mostly just skipping the cutscenes.
And then the little AMG there from range skips a 2.5-minute cutscene.
Mm-hmm. He's on the Starforge now. He had an instant first DLC on Lahan and a average Summit DLC. But he's in good shape here.
What can I do?
Chaos is still finishing up his routines. So, Binks, what do you think is the best part of this run? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part of this run, probably, honestly, the routine. The routine is just really an interesting collection of glitches. And then, as you... having learned the run, or the bare bones of the run, not even, I think, a week ago, the routine is probably the part of the run that I think feels the best to get better at.
Right. It's
especially because KOTOR speedrunning in general is so menu intensive, especially the glitched categories. I mean, equips are one thing, but NMG, all you really do is hard buffers, and you might turn VSync on or off for a couple other tricks that you have to do, but there is so much menuing in this run, it doesn't really compare to the other rule sets. And I feel like the routine is just a good showcase of that, and as you get better at it, it makes you feel better at the run overall.
Yeah, it's one of the principles of KOTOR running in general, is the menus are really...
Might have lost Indy. What he was about to say is one of the principles of KOTOR running in general is that menu optimizations are just a huge part of a skill cap. I think you cut out for a minute there, yeah. You're back.
Yeah, just sort of piggybacking off what you said, it's a high skill cap, both in menuing and just in general. So it's the kind of game where you can always get a little bit better. There's a ton of optimization you can do by just finding a way to do a menu just a little bit faster.
It's an interesting game to speedrun, especially because of the different rule sets that we have for our categories in how the skill cap changes depending on the rule set that you run. Unrestricted is very menu intensive. It's a lot of knowing which buttons to push without even necessarily being able to see the menu on screen, whereas glitchless, I would say the largest skill cap probably is in equips, but that's more or less ubiquitous across all our categories, but then also a lot of micro movement with party members.
Yeah.
Well done, Revan.
All right, Range is in the Malik fight. Let's see how his thermal detonating goes. And Chaos is doing the Lahan DLC.
Yes.
Range is playing it extra safe here, staying well away from the thermals.
Sure.
And that's a really good Malik fight.
Sure.
What can I do?
All right, just don't mess up the AMG.
Yeah,
And
Malik fight doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. Range wins. Congrats to Range. The main thing you're looking for in the Malik fight is to get a good rhythm going with the thermals for both of your characters. and you want your main character to survive as long as possible. He is really low on health, and Malik can either lightning him, or if he catches a stray thermal, he can go down pretty quick. So that was a really good Malik fight because he kept both his characters alive and got a good rhythm with his thermals so that Malik was stun locked. So it was really well done from range.
Yeah, well done, GG range. Yeah, getting into the rhythm with the thermals is actually pretty difficult, especially swapping back and forth between the two characters. Because of the way combat in the game works, you can queue up a certain number of actions at a time. But with thermals, you don't necessarily want to queue up too many because sometimes your character will throw them at the wrong spot. It'll throw them where Malik used to be instead of where he is now. So you kind of have to get into a rhythm of swapping back and forth in the beginning to A, hit the right spot with the thermals, and then B, make sure that your character doesn't automatically queue up a combat action like I'm going to go flurry Malik.
Yeah, your main character tries to shoot him, which is pretty funny. But yeah, if you just queue up 4 thermal detonators, the character will throw all 4 of them to the same spot, and the knockback will mean probably only the first one hits. So at least for me, I'm constantly disengaging my character and then rethrowing a thermal because that helps you to sort of reinitialize the target.
A little trouble parting the Red Sea here.
So that run from range was an 18:53 in-game time, which is only 30 seconds slower than the record. So a really solid run from range.
Very good for a race environment. Very good.
Chaos
very good in general.
Yeah, it's just really good run. That's a time that only 2 people have beaten. So.
Yeah, you're third place with the 2033, right?
Yes, I got a 2033.
What can I do?
My strats are a little bit old because it's about a 6-month-old PB, but no one else has really come close to Chaos or Range. So.
2033 is an interesting time because that was the unrestricted world record for quite a while. I think over a year almost. Starting in 2020, 2019?
Range, no, not that long ago, but Range had that time as a record for a while until Chaos beat it probably at the beginning of this year, I think, or mid last year. But pretty much any time under 20 minutes is a really good time for this category. And it takes, DLZs going well and no mistakes with your complicated menus and all of that fun stuff. Honestly, the second half of this run for Chaos has been pretty decent.
Yeah, he got both of the Lahan DLZs fairly quickly, and the Starforge is going pretty well, other than the Red Sea taking a minute.
Terrace was Chaos's downfall this time because he had some trouble with the Lower City DLC, and he died to Gaddon, and that pretty much put him in a hole that he couldn't recover from. This is a pretty reset-heavy category, particularly when it comes to DLZs, because if you're gunning for really top times, you have 5 to 10 seconds to get a DLZ before you're going to reset. So.
Yeah, just getting off Spire is difficult at a high skill level in this category. Something because I think Chaos is at a point where he will reset any Spire longer than 59 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're looking for. So you can see that the Chaos got much worse luck on the Malik fight because he lightninged the main character twice. So now he's stuck with just one character throwing thermals at Malik instead of having 2. So it's just a longer process. But it looks like he has navigated it correctly. So Chaos is finished. And congrats to both our racers. Range takes the tournament, and Chaos comes in runner-up.
Very well done to everybody, and thanks again for RGL TV for putting this on. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed our 4 races today. There were some great moments. And if you're interested in KOTOR speedrunning, we have a Discord that you can join. So you can find that most easily through the SRC page for KOTOR 1 or 2. We have a Discord for both KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2 speedrunning. And if you thought this run was broken, KOTOR 2 any% is even more broken than this.
And if you're thinking this might be a game that you'd like to speedrun, but you might be a little bit intimidated by how opaque some of the tricks are. I'd say that KOTOR is very well documented and well tutorialized game. On our speedrun.com page is just covered with tutorials on specific glitches and tricks, and then complete route guides for basically every category that we have that break everything down to very easy to understand and micro detail.
Yeah, we also love to help new runners, so if you have any interest in KOTOR at all, whether it's glitched categories, glitch lists, or anything in between, come join us. Yeah, thanks for commentating with me, Binks. This was a fun race to watch.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Right, RGL, it has been a fun-filled weekend. This is signing off. We fun-filled days of ninja action. Amazing Knights of the Old Republic tournament. Really had a great time watching that. Shout out to BMAC and Knights of the Old Republic community. Star Wars coming out. For us, if you have a game that you want to see a knockout tournament for, or any kind of tournament for, hit us up on the Discord. We're happy to host it. Don't forget, tomorrow we have Random Mondays. That's gonna be with Weapon doing we're gonna be doing Zelda 2 Rando tomorrow, and then next Saturday we have our DOScathlon 10 DOS rate. That's July 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern. That is also open to the community. So if you like DOS game, hop in. You can practice all week, or you could just go up on race day and play through them blind. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. Awesome. We'll go ahead and call that a night. You'll see you tomorrow for Rando Monday. Tuesday we have a Windjammers mini tournament for RGL TV Sports. So if you like Windjammers, come on by. Wednesday we have WODS Day with Kavik and Toad going through another Doom mod. In for that. Thursday, Night at the Cinema, the exciting conclusion of Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis with Cypher. And Friday, Retro Race Night. Be there 9 p.m. Open to the community. You can run race 2. Then Saturday again, DOScathlon 10 game race. We'll see you. Till next time, I'm Ample. Thank you all so much, RGL. You guys are a lovely, beautiful audience. We'll see you.